First, I'd like to come to you, Venera Vlad. You're the Associate Director at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. I understand you have some slides. I pass you the clicker as well for your presentation. It will pop up in just a moment. And to go back, it's the button just below. Yeah, it should be fine. Or maybe we try this one. Yeah. There we go.
Sorry, technology. English or Romanian?
In English would be great, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me here to speak about EBRD's financing. I understand that this is the main objective of this session. So for those that are not aware, EBRD stands for European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. And we are active in some 40 countries from Eastern Europe to Eastern Asia and the so-called CEMED, Mediterranean area. So we have a lot of coverage and experience in projects related to urbanization and municipal support. EBRD, like other IFIs, international financing institutions, has an objective to contribute to climate neutrality in line with the EU targets. And we are working closely with the European Union to align our programs and projects and to have a complementary role in this framework. So I will tell you that EBRD also has its EBRD Green Cities program that was initiated in 2016, a 5 billion euro framework that was designed to support the cities, first of all, to identify their environmental challenges and to come up with a plan and actions to sort out those challenges and contribute to climate neutrality. The program has certain objectives. First of all, we support the cities to prepare their Green City Action Plan, making available dedicated technical assistance. And particularly, I would like to mention that policy dialogue and stakeholder engagement are key features of the program. So we are working with the city and their local actors to identify their problems and to have specific actions and investments that are useful for the city. Then a second objective of the program is to facilitate investments in all the municipal related areas, water, urban transport, district heating, solid waste, energy efficiency, and so on. And then we support the cities to build capacity in implementing these programs and investments, because it's a rather new topic and it's not easy to prepare a project that show this demonstration to green economy transition. And also we support the cities to gain access to green finance. So with this program, we also have the ambition to reach 100 cities. So far, we have already 70 cities in our network. And I am proud to say that Romania is one of the most active countries in this program. We already have 6 cities that approved or are ready to approve their Green City Action Plans. And we are also discussing with 3 other cities which are interested to join our program. I would like to say that our program is complementary with the EU, and some of these cities are also in the EU 100 mission, and it was very helpful because somehow these cities were more advanced and more prepared to access the EU 100 platform. So the cities where we are present in Romania with this program are Iași, Craiova, Bucharest, Timișoara, Mediaș, Alba Iulia. As you can see, 4 of them are also in the EU, in the new program which was launched yesterday, and I wish them and all the cities that joined the program the best of luck and successful implementation of their actions and investments. So hopefully these are my 5 minutes show, but I am happy to answer any other question.
Thank you very much, and great to hear how the EBRD funding is really complementing the European Commission funding alongside. Ștefan, Acsinte, perhaps I can come to you next. You're from the European Investment Bank, and I'm also curious to hear how your funding is supporting climate neutrality in cities.
Thank you very much. Michael, I can rely on using the same remote, right? Thanks again for the opportunity to talk about the EIB and how we could help, and thank you very much for the invitation to this forum. Let me start by saying that the European Investment Bank is very keen to support the transition to climate neutrality throughout Europe. In fact, on this slide, those of you who don't know us can see a few elements which reflect what the EIB is and what the EIB does. But something which is not included on this slide, and it's still very relevant to today's discussion, is that more than half of our yearly lending volume is dedicated to climate action projects. So if we look at 2023, more than half of our lending, that is more than roughly 44 billion euros, went into climate action and environmentally sustainable projects. In addition, starting from 2021, all our operations are aligned with the Paris Agreement. And as an anecdote, but I think it's a meaningful anecdote in this context, in 2007, the EIB issued the first ever green bond. It was called Climate Awareness Bond. And that was 1 year ahead of the green bond issued by the World Bank. I'm giving you these elements to underline that we have very strong climate bank credentials. We are the European Union's climate bank, and we are definitely very keen to support Romanian municipalities with respect to their plans to advance towards carbon neutrality. Now, how do we do this? Well, first, by offering attractive financing conditions. We are a AAA rated bank. We fund ourselves on capital markets at low costs. We gain in this way a financial advantage which we pass on to our clients. We also offer tailored solutions to our clients depending on their needs and the peculiarities of their projects. So we are able to offer longer tenors with longer disbursement periods and longer grace periods. Moreover, we are able to help some of our clients access grant funding which otherwise would not be accessible. A good example in this respect is the so-called public sector finance facility, which is designed to support just transition regions. We have 6 such regions in Romania: Hunedoara, Dolj, Gorj, Prahova, Mureș, and Galați. Well, public sector authorities in these counties who get an EIB loan are also able to apply for grant funding from the European Commission, and the amount of this grant can go up to 25% of the size of the EIB loan. Without an EIB loan, they would not have access to such grant funding. But there are not only financial advantages that can be derived from a cooperation with the EIB. We, unlike a commercial bank, do not look exclusively at the credit risk entailed by a project. We also assess a project based on its economic and technical merits. We have in-house engineers and sector specialists who can act as a sounding board for the cities, validating or sometimes challenging their assumptions, but all this dialogue yields in the end a better project. Last but not least, we offer a broad range of advisory services, which you see better illustrated on this slide. And you can notice that they span a very broad range. They cover the entire spectrum from upstream project identification and project preparation all the way to implementation and monitoring. And I could give a few examples in this respect which are relevant for carbon neutrality. We focused very much on energy efficiency. Recently we completed assignments in Czech Republic, Lithuania, Greece, Belgium, which focused on energy efficiency in public buildings, also devising investment schemes for energy efficiency in residential buildings, and also street lighting. Circular economy is also a relevant topic in the context of today's conference. And we have an expertise center called C3, which stands for Circular City Center. And our colleagues in this expertise center are able to help cities devise their circular economy transition plans. A recent beneficiary of such service was the city of Leuven in Belgium. But we don't have to go to Belgium to find an example. We have Galați, where our colleagues helped put in place an integrating waste management system, and they got involved in the preparation of the master plan, in the preparation of the feasibility study, and in the preparation of the EU grant application, because this project was also supported, apart from an EIB loan, by a grant from the European Commission. And I used to have another slide. Let's see if I'm luckier this time around. Seems not. Anyway, it's a self-explanatory slide which simply illustrates a few of the cities and the transactions that we financed here in Romania. We count among our partners Sector 2 in Bucharest, Galați County, of course, but especially Oradea. With Oradea we have an excellent cooperation, and we have worked together throughout a longer period, coming up with very interesting projects that contributed a lot to the city's plans towards carbon neutrality. And my only hope is that perhaps at the future M100 conference we'll be able to add a lot more names of Romanian cities to that slide, which still somehow remains elusive. I will stop here, but of course I welcome any questions you might have.
Many thanks. We'll track that slide down. In the meantime, I was looking at the Slido and thinking that, yeah, one of the challenges somebody mentioned is that the thematics for financing are often pre-selected, not really in line with the city's needs. So it's good to hear that in your case there's a real careful work done to align the financing with the city's actual situation.
Yes, I mean, it's the grants have now been operating for 30 years. They have, in a simple version, the three donor states, Iceland, Norway and Liechtenstein, they reached an agreement with the Commission, which is then a part of the EEA agreement. And in that agreement with the Commission, they have already agreed on the basic focus areas of the upcoming program period. One of the focus areas, obviously, during this period is green transition. And we have now a new protocol for the period 21-28, and that is still a focus area agreed with the Commission. On basis of that agreement, the donors have, they design a menu of programs, and then the donors, three of them, and this is important to distinguish between the EU funding and the EA funding, because when we have reached an agreement with the Commission about the three focus areas, the donors then individually, as three sovereign states, enter into an international agreement separate from the Commission with each of the beneficiary states, with each of the member states supported, where they negotiate which programs will be supported in that relevant country. The benefit of this is, of course, we have a focused, we have more focus on each country. However, choosing from a large menu of programs with, I mean, this is considerable amount of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's perhaps not. So the focus is a little bit dispersed, and that is the lesson learned from the current period. And what I'm getting at is that because this is an international agreement from each of the donor states, it needs a sound political backing back home. And we have our own controls, our own system of results-based management, and follow the money very carefully, and we are very much involved on the ground. That's a little bit different from the EU funding. But the problem that this creates, and we can see it now from our discussion, and the challenges that the cities are faced with, is that they have to apply many different methods through the different sources of funding. And we increasingly encounter that this administrative burden is overwhelming on the project level. So this is a problem, and this is why the sources of funding have to, or it would be at least feasible, that they would align on their approach. Because if we do not, the risk from the grants side is that the grants will become more and more pressed into being gap funding. They will be used for filling up spaces where there's no money available. And this is contrary to the main purpose of the grants. So there's a dilemma here that we need to discuss. And this is the challenge in the upcoming negotiations here in Romania and all over the beneficiary states. So this is sort of our perspective. We understand the dilemma on the project level. We understand how burdensome this is for the cities to deal with, but this is the background.
Thanks very much for articulating very clearly one of the major challenges. And indeed, we see in the Slido financing sources, examples of time delay from application submission until project approval, these types of issues that can weigh heavily on cities. So it's great that we're taking this into consideration. Thank you. And Giacomo Solari, it'd be great to bring you in here. You're head of the Swiss Contribution Office at the Embassy of Switzerland in Bucharest. What can you share about how you're supporting cities?
Thank you very much. So I would very much like to build up on the last point that Borgar made. And actually, in that sense, also congratulate Romania, and this was said through these 2 days, very much for the initiative that it takes to create a mirror mission and to finance additional 10 cities. And I think this multi-donor approach and also the multi-level, so let's say financing cities, but assuring the support from the national, the EU, the national, and maybe even the regional level with the developing agencies, is the very way to go. I think actually the big challenge is exactly what Borgar said, that every source of funding, including actually from the ministry, so including national funding, is very much putting strain on the cities. When we did our assessment for this second contribution exactly on this program on energy efficiency and climate action, we just saw that cities are completely overwhelmed. They run behind all sorts of funds, and funds are available. Romania has an incredible window now, so I don't think it's an issue of funds really. It's an issue on how we reinforce the capacities of the cities to actually better absorb those funds in a much strategic way. So this is what we are aiming at. Also, Switzerland in a way is the little brother of all these other initiatives. We are smaller in volume, but we've been here also since pre-accession time. We've been very much pioneer in issues of energy efficiency and climate mitigation and adaptation. We have know-how, we have very established know-how in Switzerland, so we are clearly quite pleased to support this and to find the best way to align to these initiatives. So just maybe to give you a very short history, I mean, Switzerland did finance in the past investment in different cities in energy efficiency, but taken in a very broad approach, which I would say is quite equal to what we want to achieve here. But we also finance capacities, and this is the idea that we can continue working. We have a tool that we think is very much in line with all of this, which is, many of you might know, which is the Energy Efficiency Award, the European Energy Award, sorry, that really provides capacities for the cities to manage all this very complex, because it's true that it's about bringing stakeholders together, bringing, languages that we are speaking, technical languages more together, but it's also a very complex technical thing. When you look at energy efficiency for a municipality, this is one of the most challenging elements and very key to what the municipality spends, and the municipality also needs to engage with the private sector and with the citizens. So we are definitely looking at that and very pleased. We also finance mobility with here in Bucharest with Metrorex, and we try to do that in a way also that brings stakeholders discussions more together. So we did, just to give an example, we did the pre-financing and, pre-feasibility and feasibility study for the extension of one of the metro lines that will go to the south. And that was really seen as one of the best practices in terms of multi-stakeholder consultation. This is something that we do well in Switzerland. We don't necessarily love each other within Switzerland. We are very jealous of our autonomies, but we have learned, maybe because it was a country without natural resources, that the only way to prosper is to talk together and to come and to find the common denominator. So we are on board. Thank you.
Thank you.